Hello, this is Alex from DiamondArm. We are going to look at silver. There's some really interesting things happening. First off, read this disclaimer carefully. So, this right here is silver. And let's look a bit at the long term before we zoom in. And we actually have to go pretty far back. So this is the huge super picture of silver. We are using weekly data points. So we go all the way back here to 2006, okay? So as you can see, this is the financial crisis, and we do see that silver actually crashed during the financial crisis. Then we saw a major spike peaking up here in 2011. Let's actually measure how humongous the rally was. So from the low to the high, we have a 404%, well, actually above 400% gain. The interesting thing happening at the moment is we have seen, a huge crash. So this is where silver is now, and we are close to the lows, way back here in 2008. So you could make a really strong case that silver has become really, really cheap. So from that, let's actually also measure the bear market. So from the high to the low there, okay, we have to do it, of course, the other way, like that. Minus 71%, that's a pretty deep bear market. If we measure to where we are now, like there, minus 75% bear market. That is huge. In the same way that you can have irrational rallies, you can also have irrational bear markets. We did take out that low. At this moment, this looks like a waterfall, so it is, bearish from that perspective. The RSI though is abnormally low. So if you look at some previous times where we've had this extreme RSI, that was a good buying opportunity. Extreme RSI. Well, we did see actually some spikes after that low. It did go further down, but there were some spikes here as well. So yeah, you could make the case that both from a speculative perspective, a short-term profit, but also from a long-term perspective, it makes sense to nibble a bit at silver where it is at this point. This is just simply too darn low. This is irrationally low. If you look at some statistical correlations, that's here. So you can see that there's virtually no correlation here between silver and the S&P 500. It's because this line here, it shows you the correlation. So you see here is a higher correlation of 44%, positive correlation with the S&P 500 and silver, meaning they did not move together like one-to-one, like 100% correlation, but they danced a little bit together. But at this point, it is extremely low. It is, around 2%. So virtually no correlation whatsoever. That's also interesting, because one of the ways you can have a truly diversified portfolio is to have different things that do not correlate too strongly with each other. So if the stock market crashes, that doesn't mean the other items in that box will react the same way. So let's go to Yahoo Finance and get some additional data. One of the interesting things is the 52-week range. So we are currently at 11.89. So the 52-week range is 1152 to 1835. So we are at definitively the low end of that range. So you can see here net assets, $6.3 billion US dollars. If you go here to the options market, let's have a bit of a look. So you can see some moves. I mean, the nice thing about this ETF is that it is extremely liquid. Huge benefit of that is that you also have a nice options market. So here you can see, you know, the volume, both on the calls here and the puts, because silver was down, you know, slightly today, well, 1-ish%. Some big moves here in the puts. But I think that from a more, you know, speculative standpoint, I think there is a bullish case to be made for silver. It is abnormally low. So both short and longer term opportunity here. A way to get more of a leveraged trade on silver is to get into the silver miners. So let's here we have the Golden X Silver Miners ETF. So that one, of course, has crashed as well, but when it moves up more dramatically. So let's measure this performance, 226%. Let's look at the junior silver miners. SILJ is the ticker. So if you measure this, you know, 2016 rally, 334%. So yeah, a lot of opportunities with silver. It's a very interesting metal. It's one of the precious metals. It's not as precious as gold, so it doesn't have that same, you know, status historically. You know, the thing about silver is that it also is used for industrial purposes. But at this extremely low level, it is too interesting to pass off. You could, of course, wait a bit on the sidelines to see more improvement in the price. Whatever you do, of course, you want to let the trend be your friend.